moving on up the chain, we're going to talk today about your thoracic spine, your upper mid-back, your shoulders and wrists. So one common way that I like to open up the back here is, first I'll get into kind of a quadruped position. I'm going to sink my hips back. I've got the foam roller here to my left. I'm going to take my right hand, place the top of my hand on the foam roller, and then exhale as I rotate through the chest and upper back. So my goal is to keep my core or my belly button facing the ground. I don't want to rotate through here. I don't want to point my belly button this way. I want to make sure that everything stays facing the ground as I rotate through the upper back. You can go the opposite way. You put your hand on the back of your head and come up toward the ceiling. Try to point your elbow up. Again, trying to keep your core facing the ground as you rotate through the upper back and chest. Another way is if you can get into a deep squat, you might place your hands just on the inside of your feet. Reach to the ceiling. You'll notice I'm exhaling as I move through that range of motion. One of my favorite ways to work on shoulder mobility is just shoulder cars. Cars just stands for complete articular rotations. So I'm going to take my hand, go to complete external rotation. So I'm rotating. I have to rotate from the shoulder. It's not good enough just to rotate the wrist, because I'm not in external rotation yet. I have to completely rotate from the shoulder joint. And then keeping my torso nice and tall, I'm going to raise my hand, head. Make sure you're not compensating just in order to keep your arms straight up overhead. So you go as far as you can. If your arm comes out, fine. And then you're going to turn your hand into internal rotation. So you're going to twist the thumb in, come back as far as you can. Notice how now my thumb is pointing at me. And then go back the other way. Rotate. And now my thumb is pointing out. Okay, so I'm moving through that full range of motion. Moving on to the wrist. You can do, just like you would your ankle mobility, you can obviously just kind of hold your hand like this. If you want to do it on the ground, you could place your hand on the ground and then lean forward. You'll feel pressure kind of in the front of the wrist here. It's not comfortable to get on the ground. You could obviously do it on the bench. Same thing. Just kind of keep the palm or at the very, very base of your palm flat as you move forward. If you feel kind of a pinch in there, and you could do this for ankle mobility too, but what you'll do is you take a band, you place it around your wrist, and you'll attach it to an anchor point. I don't have one behind me, so I'm just going to hold kind of tight here, and then lean forward on that wrist, and that'll pull the wrist, make more space for you to move through that range of motion. Obviously, you want to work the other way as well, and then you could also do wrist cars. When you wrist cars, you want to make sure that your forearm is face up, and you're just going to make a fist, and then move the wrist through that complete range of motion in both directions. So again, not an exhaustive list, but definitely give you some ideas as you try to improve your mobility in those areas.